Decentralization online, the ninth session of our dialogue, and in the nearest 2 hours, we're going to discuss international cooperation and also the municipal one. And since the beginning of full-scale war, dozens of municipalities started to support Ramada. Do you remember how in the beginning of the war, the Minister of Energy have organized the marathon, which more than 1,000 municipalities joined, and that gave the new impulse for cooperation. And in 2023, the Office of the President has established the Summit of the Cities and Regions, which became the platform of the horizontal cooperation between Hromadas. And the status of the Brotherhood City was used to ease the send of the humanitarian cargoes. Then, since the beginning of the new process, these bonds had new purpose. You know that the European Union have very high standards on the sustainable development, ecological situation, and thanks to the international links, Ukrainian Hromadas are able to achieve the better results. And also the bonds with the European partners allow Ukrainian Hromadas to attract the investment in the framework of the programs of the investment and traction. And this cooperation has to enhance the cooperation, the experience exchange, and attracting new investor. And that is a key aspect for joining the European Union, where the economies are bound together through markets and the common projects. And all in all, this cooperation enhances the institutional capacity of territorial Hromadas, make them closer to the European practices and standards, and at the same time, it improves the Euro integration of Ukraine. And therefore, we are discussing this topic, and we are going to consider the problems and the existing experience. I would like to remind you that this initiative belongs to USAID. Decentralization brings better results and efficiency. DOBRE, Ukrainian Crisis Media Center, or Ukrainian United Hromadas. Objective: the communication between Hromadas with the aspect of building the better capacity of Hromadas. And we have invited the expert of the associations of self-government and also the projects of technical assistance. Online, we have around 300 representatives of territorial Hromadas all around Ukraine, at least. That is the number registered. And the biggest number of questions they've sent are related to where should we find the partners? What should be the first step? They're asking about typical agreements. So they're asking about where to find the qualified specialists. And they're asking about the cooperation not only in Europe but also in the US. And therefore, our objective is to answer as many questions of Hromadas as possible. And let's start from the Association of Self-Government Municipalities. And we have the person who in the Ministry of Regions was working on these policies and now continues doing that, but now as the head of the United All-Ukrainian Hromadas. Mr. Zhytomyr, what are the biggest challenges and how association helps to resolve them? Greetings, everyone. Yes, indeed. I can confirm your words that in these difficult years and months of Ukraine, and guess the most difficult ones were in March and April, we were able to implement the relevant international marathon, which was participated by more than 1,000 events from all around the world, and that was a push for the cooperation between Ukrainian Hromadas and communities not only in Europe but also the communities on the other continents. And at the same time, association at the moment is working on improving these. And we have established in the Ministry of Region, that is informational campaign, and we have on our association website the international platform and the role of it, and we have to redirect the participants of our association to various international events. For example, the participants of our participants participated the week of the cities and regions, and around 7,000 participants participated as well. Our association was widely represented there, and we have we got some new contacts, and we have already even some agreements on for the future cooperation. Since the beginning of October, around 70 representatives of Hromada have participated the webinar on cooperation, and it was organized by the Secretariat of Ukraine, and we have this kind of level of engagement among our association, and also we are. And another important direction is establishment of the partnership on the level of the other associations. For example, we are cooperating for a long time with a Swedish organization of Salar, and also we have a long-term cooperation, and also we are establishing the relations with the other associations in Europe. Beside that, our association closely cooperates with Cities for Cities, and recently we have established we started the two. We have organized the meetings. It is called Friday with Cities for Cities, where we are sharing the interesting insights on important topics around international cooperation with Hromadas. Speaking of the key challenges we have at the moment, I would like to emphasize the three most important ones when we are establishing the new partnership. The first challenge is related to the fact that all of us know that since 2024 we have a legal framework, and according to this legal framework we have some certain partnership between Hromadas. And in fact at the same time, till 2024, we didn't have any kind of limitations and didn't have any kind of imperatives or rules of game on how we establish the relations between Hromadas in Ukraine and abroad. And that was a soft model. It was at most simplified because there was no legal framework, and these kind of legal framework were concluded on the basis of the partnership party. And thanks to this push to this international marathon, as during the last 3 quarters of this year, we have signed 487 Hromadas signed around 2,100 agreements between 464 countries of the world. And in fact, we can see that there is a huge dynamics and there is an interest. And if you monitor what Hromadas are the most are the leaders here, and of course big cities are leaders here, but of course Berehovo, which is a small Hromada, has established the biggest number of the partnerships with the European Union. And if we are talking about the risks, in this case we have to say that we should not lose this impulse these dynamics of signing these memorandums, and there is some kind of concern that the legal framework can make these dynamics not that fast. But at the same time, I can say that there are only general things mentioned in this law, but the main rules will have to be identified, defined by the bylaws. And at the moment, the bylaws are just in process of forming, and just 1 month ago we received it for the approval, and there are some certain risks which depend on the central executive authorities, and correctness, not correctness of these agreements will be defined by them. And the dynamics of concluding these agreements maybe in some way decrease comparing to what we have now. That is when we're talking about the challenges. But at the same time, it would have been really right if in our state we had some certain games of rule on how we establish some certain partnership. But there is a challenge, and for the dynamics of these concluding these kind of agreements, it will go down. But there is an advantage also, because at the same time we will have the register of these kind of agreements, and you will be able to go through them. And as you said, the practical experience of the Hromadas will be available online, and that will help the other Hromadas to establish their own partnerships with Hromadas. And as for the second challenge I've mentioned, I would like to say that not always quantity turns into quality. So that is a philosophical principle. First of all, we are looking for the numbers and the good dynamics, 2,495 agreements. But if you compare, if you go through these agreements, they are not that active. So there are some certain risks, and there are some challenges. And after these agreements are signed, they are forgotten. Therefore, we would like to draw attention that these agreements have to be more dynamic, and they have to develop in various ways in the future as well. And as for the second challenge, of course, 2022, 2023, we have signed lots of agreements which were directed on the humanitarian or financial assistance or other type of assistance. Moreover, it turned into unpleasant factors or unpleasant challenge when our Hromadas are looking for some benefits, or they are saying directly that we need assistance in this, and that. So in fact, Hromadas are becoming the beggars, and unfortunately, Hromadas or the partners, theoretically or possible from the other side, sometimes they even do not have the opportunity to provide the assistance because of their internal legislation or because of the other reasons. And therefore, our Hromadas have to rethink these kind of relations and these kind of cooperation. They have to find the mutual cooperation and benefits. So they have to see the benefits of the cooperation with the other side, but also to bring the benefits. So, for example, they can participate various international partners, where it can be Ukrainian or foreign Hromadas or communities. I think that there will be, today we will hear the requirements for Interreg or the other requirements which are required to participate in various financial programs. But nevertheless, I would like to say that I'm quite confident that the quantity of the agreements will turn into quality, and I hope that most of Hromadas will have lots of various partnerships. So the partnerships which later, as a result of the cooperation, will grow into the real brotherhood. So thank you. That's it from my side. Thank you, Serhiy. And online we have your colleague on association, Bogdan Grichavy. Greetings. Can you hear us? Greetings. I can hear you. I can see you. Mr. Bogdan, you as the head of the platform of association of the Ukrainian cities, you probably know the most what are the challenges, and as the head of Kapechenyanska Hromada, you know how to overcome these issues. Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, the request from our Hromadas is much higher than from our Western partners, and therefore that is the reality we have to somehow understand. But at the same time, we do not fully understand why do we need this partnership, and quite often I do not probably need to explain, because Mr. Serhiy has mentioned lots of aspects. And as for the additional challenges which I would like to mention is that I have a request from a request to improve the partnership, but at the same time, quite often they are talking about their systematic work. And recently, in our oblast, in one of the Hromadas, the project manager left, and now Hromada has no English-speaking project manager, and that is something we have to work on. And the staff is not ready. We have to work with them, and we have also to understand what do we do, because if we just take a person, and if we do not understand whether this person is what this person is doing, then it's difficult. And of course, the political and economical instability is also an obstacle when Hromadas are trying to catch up with the trend for the international partnership, but the locals, they are not quite always understand what is happening, because typically that is a long game when Hromadas come to some events, to some conferences, and maybe they didn't bring anything to their Hromadas, anything material, and that can be just ideas, experience exchange, and later it can turn into something better for Hromadas, something more solid, some results. But if the internal political situation isn't stable, quite often people do not understand why do they go there, what are they doing there, and what results should they get. And here we're coming back to the question which was mentioned by Serhiy, when Hromadas, to overcome this situation, they are becoming the beggars. And from the very start, it doesn't matter who they are talking to, what are they working on. They are saying that is our Hromada, we need the truck, and they do not know the context, and it can even harm a bit. So coming back to the next question, which I mentioned, sometimes there are the wrong narratives and regarding this cooperation, and that is something I also observed myself. In the beginning of the full-scale war, the entire Western world was shocked. What is happening? And at that point, they could have ignored any kind of rules, and they were coming immediately to what we needed. We didn't care what was happening, but we have war in our country, so please help us. And that was the narrative which was on the national level, and Hromadas were catching up with it. And now the communication has to be more careful, and we have to understand the context of the authority of the meeting, and therefore we have a more difficult task, and we have to be in the context of those who we are in touch with, and we should look for mutually beneficial aspects. And the last challenge I would like to name, the challenges, extraordinary challenges. I'm not talking about the typical one like the language barrier or something like that, or the political situation. But in our culture, we have a kind of stimulation of competition between hromadas, and sometimes becomes toxic when we are pulling the blanket on us, and it is probably from the times when oblast administration or the state institutions where when hromadas had to compete for the money, and they had to find the opportunity to draw attention to their hromadas. But when we're talking about international cooperation, the horizontal bonds are more appreciated, and there are some certain hromadas which were affected in the same way, and each of them is pulling the blanket and say, like, look at us. And I think that it would have been better to unite in these kind of cases and to be ready to share the knowledge, to share the contacts, because when we are uniting, we can see the bigger scale, the scale of the problem, or the scale of our possibilities, or the scale of our qualification. Thank you, Mr. Bogdan. That was the Association of the Amalgamated Territorial Hromadas, and also we have the manager in international activities, Association of Cities of Ukraine. What is the role of the Association of Cities in cooperation, international cooperation, and what experience can you share with us? What advices can you give us? Thank you very much. Greetings, everyone. Association of Cities of Ukraine was established 32 years ago, and in fact was the part of almost all the most important processes of self-government development in Ukraine. And many things were made through international partnership. Association of Cities of Ukraine is a part of many international associations. For example, the Council of the International Municipalities and Regions for 25 years, and also the global organization, which is called the United UCLG, and also Association of Cities of Ukraine cooperates with the Congress of the local and regional cities, Eurocity, Council of Europe, and of course we have great contacts with the national associations of the local self-government of various countries. And Association of Cities of Ukraine was studying the international experience, was studying the best practices of the local self-government, and all the best we found we were bringing to Ukraine, and we were communicating to hromadas, and then we were spreading the best practices of Ukrainian hromadas abroad. And therefore, thanks to the international cooperation, we are able to develop the local self-government. And today we were mentioning the active hromadas who are not just asking for some certain things like humanitarian assistance. At the same time, they are able to suggest something to their partners. In the framework of the Association of Cities of Ukraine, we have 1,068 village and town councils from all around Ukraine, and the Association of Cities of Ukraine, we have multiple officers in each oblast, and hromadas are operating both on international and national level. And therefore, speaking of what we are actually doing, of course, the project activity is something that is not surprising anymore, but of course there is the need for the development of these projects, and therefore the Association of Cities of Ukraine develops them and applies them for the competitions for grants, and together with international partners we are implementing these projects. And these projects can be various. It can be just one educational visit of the delegation of the local self-government, or that can be a long-term project which for example was the push for the implementation of decentralization of authority in Ukraine. And the project activity is very important, and the Association of the Cities of Ukraine understands that, and we are organizing the educational trainings for the local staff who were helping to develop the strategies of the economical development and lots of other things. We were educating on different topics, and we will continue doing that. And also in the framework of thanks to the work of Association of Cities of Ukraine with the international partners, since the very first days of the full-scale war, Association of Cities of Ukraine was a part of the working group with the international organizations, and that gave us the opportunity to activate the municipal movement. So the Association of Cities of Ukraine has sent a letter both to the National Association of the Self-Government, to the international organizations too, for the Hromadas for the communities in Europe and other parts of the world, to help their brotherhood cities. And those of them who do not have them, they could have contacted us, and we could have helped them to establish this kind of partnership. And this municipality movement has helped us a lot, because this assistance was provided very fast, it was very addressed, and it was meeting the needs which Hromadas had at that time. And at the same time, the Association of Cities of Ukraine has prepared the list of the humanitarian assistance we needed at that time. We have shared it with our international programs, and when we understood how active the critical infrastructure is showed, the Association of Cities of Ukraine has contacted the international partners to prepare the possible blackouts and before they started, we were talking for a few months already that we will need to provide generators, we will need to provide with different details and so on and so forth. So we were working on avoiding the possible prevention of the possible problems, which unfortunately later occurred. And at the same time, we also have to mention that the Association of Cities of Ukraine was assisting in humanitarian assistance, and we were applying for the financing together with international partners. And in this way, we directly were able to assist many Hromadas with and could equip them. For example, that could be computers, which was provided to Kherson, and also that is the medical equipment which was provided to some of the Hromadas, furniture for children rooms, and also food products, and we continue providing these kind of assistance. Recently, we have provided a few vehicles. And what kind of assistance can you provide to association as for them to avoid the mistakes as we were mentioning today? We are organizing informational sessions, especially in 2023. We have organized a few informational sessions, and we engaged more than 1,000 of participants, and we were providing with a clear algorithm. And also we have organized the database of the brotherhood cities. In the moment, we have around 400 Ukrainian Hromadas who have their brotherhood Hromadas. And if the Hromadas who didn't fill in our forum, you can do that. You will be able to contact us, and you will be able to fill in this forum, and we will pass this information to our partners as soon as it will be possible for us. We are organizing informational sessions, and also we're organizing the educating visits. An association of the cities of Ukraine is a co-organizer of many events, both offline and online in Ukraine, and that can be exhibitions, for example, Rebuild Ukraine, and soon we will have the exhibition in Warsaw, and also we participated in the exhibition in Berlin, and also we have brought the delegation of Hromadas, and also various events where you can establish the context directly. So the importance of these visits and participation in the international events is that we are creating the possibility, the opportunities for you to have the direct contact with the representatives of the foreign countries. And then it depends on the activeness of the local authorities. And it's important that we should that Hromadas can share their experience and that is called crisis management, and also the construction of the shelters, bomb shelters, and also uniting Hromadas, decentralization of government, the services, especially social services, considering the situation. And it is especially interesting for the regions which are close to the border, and they are even inviting the representatives of the foreign, and they are asking whether some certain place is good for the bomb shelters. So if you are not registered in our database, please send your forms. We are ready to consider the further cooperation, and you can see that we have the initiative, the Bridges of Trust, and we have established 36 partnership with 36 Ukrainian and foreign Hromadas, and one of the initiatives is the idea which was established by the Association of Cities of Ukraine, that are the children's camp, and at the moment we can say that more than 3,000 children have attended various countries, and they were able to travel, to get rest from the air raid alerts, to get some psychological assistance, and the Association of Cities of Ukraine continues negotiations with the other associations for the other organizations to accept children. And of course, a huge work was done on the international work on the recovery of Hromadas, and we are trying to engage any kind of support for recovery. We are helping to develop the project offers, and for more than 50 project offers were developed. And besides that, recently we have organized the event, and Misiana participated in it. That is the Ukrainian Municipal Forum, where we were considering the issues of the international cooperation, and therefore the materials of this forum will be shared, and we hope that thanks to this forum we will be able to help our Hromadas to improve assistance. Thank you very much. We can talk a lot about it. Yes, indeed. So I would like to ask all the speakers in advance, and if you will have the answer, then please say it. How to teach our Hromadas to turn from beggars to an interesting partners for the foreign municipalities? Maybe if you have any kind of ideas, please say it. And now we're talking to the legal framework, and without the efficient legal framework, we cannot speak about development. And I guess that in the linear committee, they understand that. And when we're talking about Alexander Alexeychuk, the committee on organization of the state authorities and local self-government, regional development, and construction. Mr. Alexander, can you hear us? Yes, thank you very much. Mr. Alexander, can you tell us something good about the legislation 10/284, and maybe you can give a comment on something that was said by Serhiy Shershov, maybe that can slow down the international partnership. Please, the word is yours. Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to present. I'm very sorry that I could not participate physically because so let me explain, and if there are going to be any questions, I will be ready to respond. Speaking of the legislative initiative, we have adopted the draft law 90/104/50, which turned into law. And as for the international cooperation, well, I do not see any kind of slowdown, and I can see no obstacles. Everyone is working according to the algorithm they had before, and we are waiting together with the ministries. We are working, we are preparing the bylaws, and we have created this single window through the 9450, where Hромada, which wants to register their cooperation with the municipalities of the other countries, so they can apply to the Ministry of the Territories Development. They can apply their the information about their intention, and there is 10 days to check whether it's not violating the legal framework of Ukraine, and then they get the answer with the violations or the approval of this kind of cooperation. Everything is very clear, everything is very transparent, and no obstacle. And if we're talking about the reasons why this draft law 9450 was adopted, it was done to provide all Hromadas and cities of Ukraine to be able to communicate with the foreign partners, to cooperate in the framework of the foundations and the programs of the European Union. Because before that, we had the access to Interreco projects through the transborder cooperation in the region, which were somehow attached to and now we have the opportunity, every Hromada in Ukraine can apply with this project offer. And why do we do that? Where can we find the money? Because the money are in the European funds, so we have to find the partner. The partner, it's not just to become friends, we have to find the partner with a similar projects. As Mr. Shershov said, it's not the matter of asking, it's the matter of the common problems, to find the common ideas and together to be able to implement them. And then we have the second question. In case we found the problem, who's going to write the project? And here we have a few directions. The first one is that there could be the partner who has the experience in working with international funds. It can be, maybe your project manager can do that. If you do not have the project manager, then you can unite with other Hromadas in Ukraine who have this kind of project manager. That is also a problem. I can understand that. And at the moment, we can see that we have 122 participants in chat, and I guess that many of them in their Hromadas, they cannot find the project officer, a project manager, and I'm not even talking about project office. And therefore, we have developed the changes, the amendments to the law 11412, which simplifies the international cooperation, and a few Hromadas can unite around the existing problems, and in this way they will be able to find the project manager not for one Hromada but for a few ones, and create a project officers for a few Hromadas. If we are talking about 10874, we are working, it is on the second reading, and we are working with this National Social Service to be able to pay from the attracted money to pay the Hromadas, and in this way to stimulate them for participation. And I hope that this year we will be able to vote for it in the parliament, and this opportunity will take place, because all the projects which allow to finance, all the funds which allow to finance the project in Hromadas, they have 10-15% funds for the administration expenditures for the implementation of this project. So adopting this law will allow Hromadas to act, to be able to have more money to find the qualified specialists. Because it was mentioned that one is learning, and then they are going to Poland, and maybe not even in Poland, but also all donors, they are looking for the specialists, giving them good money, and in this way the good specialists are leaving Hromadas. And this legislation would help to unite and help to pay from the attracted resources, their work. And I agree with Mr. Bereznyi. We have sent the amendment to the law 1025 on the international cooperation. What is this amendment about? In case, if we are looking for the partner, if we are writing the project and it wins in the European fund, you will need, first of all, according to the European Union rules and their funds, you will have to invest your own money, and then this money will be returned. We foresee, for example, 2 billion hryvnias in our budget for you to get it as the winner of the project. And then you will be able to use this money. In addition, later, as compensation from the European Union, you will get the same money. So that is a kind of simulation for Hromadas to get twice more in case of their active work on the international stage. Beside that, on the basis of the subcommittee which we're heading, there is a working group on the problems of the existing Hromadas during the implementation of the project of the international intermunicipal activities. And the ministries of territories and the Ministry of State Audit Service are the part of it, and the other, and the members of the Parliament of Ukraine and the local authorities. And we, so to say, it's not a kind of executive type of work, of the executive branch of work, but we want this mechanism to work, and the obstacles which exist at the moment, we are listening to different stakeholders of Ukraine, and we are listening to what kind of obstacles do they have. So we have to understand that the cooperation has to be not only humanitarian one, and today we were mentioning that many Hromadas in Europe, they started to assist us in first months of the full-scale war. We have to move to a more practical part, practical cooperation. And the key thing here is that we have to find the partners. One more thing, that we are now communicating with all the donors, with many donors and many donor organizations to collect the information on who is providing what kind of service, and to be for them to be able to reach out to each Hromada and to explain how to use the money, how to use the state assistance. And therefore, we have to do everything possible on our place, and we have to listen to the problems and to the feedback to build the efficient Hromadas in each corner of Ukraine. Thank you very much. You are the person who are bringing us good news. 2 billion hryvnias for Hromadas, for them to be able to use the financing in the European projects. Thank you very much. And we are moving forward. Today we have the representatives of the projects and the programs of the international cooperation. And that is USAID program DOBRE and the project and HOVERLA project. And I would like to invite Maxim Burdavitsyn, the deputy head of program USAID DOBRE, who is actively supporting integration of Ukrainian Hromadas into the international community. Could you share your own experience? What should Hromadas do, and what should be changed in their paradigm of the cooperation with international partners? Thank you very much. USAID DOBRE operates in Ukraine since 2016. That is quite a long time, and we were supporting our Hromadas even before the full-scale war and even after the full-scale war. What I would like to say, according to our observations, we work both on the east and south, east and west, south and north. We were observing that Hromadas, which were closing to the western areas, they have more partners, and maybe that is due to geography issues. Maybe it's because even the language in these regions it's efficient, and trans-border cooperation is really efficient. So Ukrainians, they are often know the language of the neighborhood countries. For example, Polish, Romanian, and the others, and it helps a lot, and that is really great. And as for the eastern Hromadas, it is harder. They are further, and now they are affected by the war. And therefore, we have collected the representatives of the eastern and southern Hromadas, and we brought them to the western region, to Lviv, and we have introduced them, for example, to Zhovkva Hromada, and they already have some kind of interesting ideas so that let's do something together. So Zhovkva will work with Eastern Hromada, and everyone understand that Zhovkva Hromada was not that much affected by the war. And for example, Lipetska or Vovchanska Hromada were very much affected, and they are under shellings at the moment. So we will apply for the funding. So we are trying to unite even some our internal partnership, East and West, and then we are looking for the partners abroad. And of course, there is Ukrainian Union, a huge institution, and as for there is the US, and talking of the European municipalities, it is easier to cooperate with them because of the geography, time, and there is no time difference, and also the language. Sometimes the languages of the European Union, they are more accessible. And speaking of the US, it is longer, further English language, some certain requirements. However, a colleague, they work more with American municipalities. They can tell you more about the specifics. And therefore, what else I would like to say that it is important to keep partnership, the existing partnership. It's not a one-time, single-time usage. It's a long-term cooperation. For example, Hrechanopovska Hromada in Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, they have cooperation with Poland, and they have established this partnership before the full-scale war, and when the full-scale war started, they have just enhanced it. And when I came there, Ukrainian women were greeting me. So they, when I went to Poland, Ukrainian women were greeting us. So that is a great example because they do work there. And for example, Chernivtsi has partners in the US, Salt Lake City, and it is lost. Salt Lake City and the HOVERLA project, they have contacted us, Salt Lake City, and they have asked whether we can rearrange the partnership with Chernivtsi. And as we're working a lot in Chernivtsi, we are trying to connect them, and there is the desire, there is understanding, and I hope that this partnership will take place. And I agree with my colleagues on the ideas that in the beginning of the full-scale war, the support was stronger, and now it is not that strong. And this year, DOBRE program has organized 4 visits to Poland for the representatives, and also to find the new partners. We have covered 80 Hromadas, 80 representatives, and we have brought them to Poland, and it is very important. Our role in this case is facilitation. A foreign word. We are assisting, helping, sometimes with translations, sometimes with communication, and there were even cases when the foreign municipalities do not want to cooperate directly. They say that we need the mediator. Why? Because there are some sensitive issues. And Salt Lake City, in the beginning, they were doing it through us because that is also an American program, and we want to first to discuss it with you and the areas of cooperation. And we ask, what do you want? What kind of direction? They say, well, we are interested in biomedicine, neuromedicine, cancer, and we're asking Chernivtsi, and what would you like? And she says, we want, we can organize the Borscht Festival. And I think that we will find the common language. Yeah, we will have the Borscht Festival, and we will have the neuromedicine. So this mediator is needed to make the sharp angle smoother, and to explain the American partner that in the Oblast Center, we do not have the neuromedicine. and to explain that mildly, and to suggest a borscht festival, and that is great. You will come here, we'll eat a lot of borscht, and that is Ukrainian food, and you cannot even imagine what is that. And in the end, they agree, they understand, and we find the common language. So mediation is also very important, and also not only in the international cooperation. We also have the partner, the Polish partner, the Foundation of the Development, which covers gminy, and they are the mediators. So these mediators are very important. Maybe associations where they have the contacts with different associations, and we have to look partnership through these ways as well. And I agree with this statement that partnership works in both sides. So you have not only to take something or to ask something, and you have to give something back. And the partnership means that we have this experience and we can share. And Ukrainian Hromadas have it. And my colleagues were already mentioning that, for example, now we have the strategic planning. And our Hromadas are writing strategies, they engage in citizens. And this is experience we can share. And the same thing happens in the foreign Hromadas. You are writing strategies, we are writing strategies. Let's exchange our thoughts. What was difficult? How you were engaging people? How you took into account their opinion? We have e-services, and sometimes they are more developed than in the EU countries. Various apps, they are also more developed, and even on the level of Hromadas, there are lots of interesting things we can suggest them, and our Hromadas can suggest all of these things. So yes, I also agree with what Bogdan has said, that we have a challenge with human resources, and to increase it, we have a few trainings on the project management. We have the partner Kyiv School of Economics, and we're organizing the training for Kharkivska, Mykolaiv, and Khersonska Oblast, which were very much affected. And together we have developed the program of the comprehensive development. And for these Hromadas, for their people, we have ordered this kind of training, which is certified from Kyiv School of Economics. Why do we need it? Because for these programs which they have made, for this program to be implemented later. Another training which we have found ourselves, we have found the consultants for other Hromadas, and the project management, it is also very important, and Hromadas do want to study, they want to study, and we are going to assist them. And if Hromada, who is not the partner of DOBRE program, can they do that? It will be more difficult because there is some certain bureaucracy behind it, and the programs of the international cooperation, they cannot cover 1,470 Hromadas minus temporary occupied. You have to be our partner. That is also some certain challenge to win in these kind of competitions. But nevertheless, we have online or events and also webinars which are open for anyone. They are free of charge, and also we have the project management training. So please join our online trainings and find your own opportunities. Apply for the international projects, and we wish you good luck. Thank you, Mr. Maxim. Thank you, Dobre, and Mr. Oleksiy has raised his hand. You have something to play? Yes, thank you. I would like to add to what Ruslan Brodovitsy has said. Yes, they are representing DOBRE program, and indeed we would like to thank our donors for taking care of some certain regions, and we as a committee and the state authority, we are talking with the other partners on the services of the provision of the trainings and service on program management. That is a huge need. We need the people who speak languages and who know how to run the projects. And the committee is also going to communicate with other partners to scale up this program and scale up the territories where these programs operate. And also today we have the head of USAID HOVERLA, Maya Gugoladze. Miss Maya, greetings. Welcome to our event. And what are the peculiarities of cooperation with the U.S. Hromada communities, and what are your practical advices to Ukrainian Hromadas, and how can you help Ukrainian Hromadas, so to say, to build the correct way towards international partnership? Thank you.
I think we have a little presentation, if we can put on the screen, yeah. And if I can have click, please. Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to greet this audience and audience who is joining us online on behalf of HOVERLA. I have a pleasure to talk to you and to share our experience and our practices, how we help our communities and partners to promote the international partnership. HOVERLA today is represented by me and my colleague, Igor Sanjarovsky, who specifically is leading in our project, international cooperation. So, and if we have questions to him, he will be happy to respond. Colleagues, let me, wait, how this works? Wait, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so first of all, let me indicate that HOVERLA is now on its year 5 implementation. It started operation in Ukraine from 2021. Right now, specifically in year 5, we have defined our geographic coverage, which is 12 oblasts and 103 communities. And this is the area where we promote different type of partnership, which is also in-country partnership between citizens through our projects. And here I see associations who are our partners and helping us to promote this kind of partnership and dissemination of information. But because focus of this session today is international partnership, let me just focus specifically on international partnership. We agree with all colleagues here that international partnership is, or how we call sometimes cross-border partnership, very important and valuable activity and assistance, technical assistance for our project, for our citizens, communities. And let me say that it's very, let's say, broad and significant direction of HOVERLA's operation. So currently, we already established 17 partnerships between our communities and mostly with US communities. And these are we promoted long-term partnership, let's put this way, which is strengthened by Memorandum of Understanding. Currently, let me indicate that this partnership, these memorandums are quite broad. So it is broadly identifying the partnership in terms of social, economic, education, all these areas, health and other, sport, health, everything. But in future, we will help our communities just to identify maybe quite, in a narrow sense, their partnership so that it is more focused, right? So, for example, one of these directions will be economic opportunities and attraction of foreign fundings, for example. But it is a broad activity in year 5, which we just started, and we will be more ready to update on those practices like a little bit after, like maybe in 3-4 months. So in next slide, we just indicated names of those communities in next 2 slides, which is the 17 activities. So we are leaving this presentation actually, and if you are interested, so you can, I mean, this is for everyone, and you can look at this in more details. And one thing that I want to focus right now is that capacity building. And our moderator asked the question, so what are things that we do so that we help our communities to be ready for and to be effective in cross-border and international cooperation. We are very much closely working with Верховная Rada Committee and our colleague, it was very nice to listen to him, Alexander Alexeychuk, who just talked about legislative improvements in this direction, because there is number of, let's say, procedures, amendments, clarifications to the laws that needs to be made, and they are all in process. And Mr. Alexander talked about this in very details. So, and he exactly talked about the laws which is on my presentation. So I will not stop on this, but just want to mention that we work with the Decentralization Committee in very closely, and just assisting them anyhow we can by providing expert opinion, revising the laws, or reviewing the laws, and also helping the committee to organize various platforms, forums to raise the awareness of the communities, and also, you know, the consolidate and disseminate the information that or the new developments that they are dealing with. So our direction is also that here colleagues mentioned that one thing that communities need is, for example, how to write projects. Yeah, so we're training our citizens to be able to write the projects, and also even physically helping some of them to apply for some international partnership projects. And here is the, for example, we helped our communities to develop 7 environmental projects for the cross-border partnership Poland-Ukraine program, for example. Yeah, so and we continue these activities also in this year. Again, we continue working with also Ministry of Finance, Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine, and continue, of course, with Верховная Rada of Decentralization, again, on those legislative improvements and improving the procedures and rules, regulations. We continuing the trainings, of course, and we also working on improving the legislation on borrowing the money. So, and for example, I can say that for and physically helping our communities for those actions. And for example, for 3 communities, we already were able to help them just to work with European Investment Bank, for example, then to submit their projects. Some other activities, I think that presenters here mentioned also that it is very critical that we also organizationally provide help our communities to strengthen their processes, to strengthen their economic development priorities, so that they are better ready for international cooperation, so that when there is international investors or partners, they know exactly what to ask, and they know exactly how mutual partnerships can be built, right? In which area, and are they ready for it or not? For example, we do a lot of strategic planning. We do a lot of spatial planning for our community. communities. We do a lot of economic development activities, like, for example, economic passports, where they can describe exactly what is the priorities of their communities or economic opportunities, which is kind of ready processes for international partnership. Industrial parks, for example, with 10 communities, we will be helping them to develop the industrial parks documentation and all related processes, which is basically part of preparation for these international partnerships. And here, colleagues also mentioned that sometimes there is language barrier also, and I should indicate that we have English courses also providing to our communities. I think these are the things that we wanted to mention. Igor, would you like to add something? Oh, yeah. Maybe you talk about
Так, пане Ігоре, будь ласка.
Recent visit in US as well.
Хіба що, може, у вас є запитання якісь конкретні по тому,
У
що
мене по
сказала?
аналогії буде.
I will have a similar question to Mr. Maxim. So next to you, there is the representative of Ternopil military administration, and I do not remember whether HOVERLA is the partner for Ternopil, whether HOVERLA is ready. So now it is assisting Hromadas inter-municipal cooperation, whether you are ready to help them inter-regional cooperation.
Like Igor to give you more details.
Ну, дивіться, ми тут, я думаю,
Well, I think we need to grow together with our Hromadas, and we have to understand what is international cooperation, because for some reason, and by the way, this discussion is showing that for some reason we think that there is Ukraine, there is Hромada, and there is somewhere world, somewhere far away, and we cannot meet them. And I think, in fact, that we became the international player, Ukraine and Ukrainian Hromadas, and we have to perceive ourselves in this way. And that obliges us in some certain way how we position ourselves, what kind of messages should we send, and how we should perceive the world in general. Your question regarding participation in HOVERLA, well, yes, indeed, we have some certain determined circle of regions. This circle was determined with donors, with the government of Ukraine, and it seems to me that we have to understand that donor cannot help everyone. And the main purpose of donor is not to help everyone, but to show the way. And then the local players, association, the government, and the other authorities, they have to use these tools and to move this machine forward. And on the one way we can recommend something, we are sharing their advices, we are organizing forums, we are sharing some materials on our website. So we share through Decentralization Global UA, and except we have not only Hromadas we have partnership with, but we also have friendly Hromadas, and we organize events for 500 southern Hromadas, and we are open for this cooperation. But on the other hand, we are not able to cover each and everyone as any kind of technical assistance project. And our objective is to develop some certain model, some certain tool to suggest the government, the parliament to adopt them if it is acceptable. And of course, we are doing that all together with them, but nevertheless, we have the mandate to do that, and we are helping them to do that. And unfortunately, we're not able to directly engage as partners all Hromadas of Ukraine, even though, of course, we would like to do that. But we hope that the work we do will be sent to Hromadas. And Miss Natalia, we recently met with her during the forum, that the work we've done, our achievements with the US, we are ready to share it with associations for them to be able to use it. And of course, there are some certain issues which our colleagues have already mentioned regarding the lack of interest at the moment. And I think that we have to understand that maybe in Europe there is some bigger losses, because efforts were undertaken to support Ukraine, and they have accepted the Ukrainians abroad, and there is some certain fatigue. What can we see in the US? In the US, situation is a bit different, and I think that some time ago, the ordinary US citizens, they even didn't know what is Trostянець or Trostянецька громада. They could not even find Ukraine on the map. And now, after all of these informational wave, many of them who already know what is Ukraine, where it is located, and how does it look like, at least some elements of it are already well known. So the thing is that the political campaign, so to say, political informational campaign in the US, it is ignoring some aspects, and they say that it is said that Ukraine has disappeared from the informational space of the US, but also, when you're talking to Hromadas and to the officials in the US, they know where Ukraine is. They're ready to assist. They are not quite sure how to cooperate with Ukraine. And our colleague was mentioning that there are some certain things like Borscht Festival and all of these medical demands. So I think that the work of association and our task is to work with and I think that the project will help, but our main task is to explain to Hromadas what they actually want, because Borscht Festival is of course good as a beginning, but then you have to find something more solid. And as a colleague said, that it should be mutually beneficial. And of course we understand that the US is not somewhere, it's not an abstract country. They also have their own challenges and difficulties. And we have visited US with our colleagues. We were bringing the delegation of Ukrainian Hromadas, heads of Hromadas, and they participated some events there. And by the way, Miriv was there, and Hromadas of which they brought, and also there was the program organized by the Center of Strategic International Researches, and there were lots of meetings there. And after these meetings, we learned a lot and we understood a lot, and now we need to form our position of Ukrainian Hromadas. And I think that these kind of trips help our heads of Hromadas to understand that there is Ukraine, that there is the country which is a player on this stage, and that Hromadas have their role, and the Hromadas, they already have their role, and sometimes they do not understand their role and what do they want from it. And here we need the assistance for these Hromadas, for them to understand their position. And that was stated by many people. Please tell us, what do you want exactly? What is your position? What will you contribute to this partnership? Because once again, I will refer to the previous statement mentioned by the other colleagues. We have to have the common understanding why this is important. So what will it give to the Ukrainian Hromadas, and the preparation for this trip, and what Ms. Maya was saying, the development of this strategy, it should not be just a strategy. When we are saying that Ukrainian Hromada is an actor for the international cooperation, when developing this strategy, we have to understand where we can be valuable in the international level and how we can promote these values. And maybe it is not that obvious to a small Hromada, and I do understand that that's understandable, but we have to refer to it more and more, and we have to perceive it as a serious work and a serious result which we can achieve. Thank you, Mr. Ihar, but we need to move forward. Thank you very much. We have lots of things to say. We are out of time, sorry. So as far as I remember, I can let Mr. Maxim Burdavitsin, but I will not let you go. We have the comment. Thank you, USAID HOVERLA, for the support, and the big support and the big thanks from Bashtanska Hromada. We also appreciate Bashtanska Hromada. We visited them the previous week, and I know Inna, and thank you very much. Thank you, Inna. Thank you, your team, and the incredible people and incredible Hromada. Very friendly, very so to say, they were very much affected, and they were the participants of the Russian hostilities, and the people just gathered, and they did not allow them to move forward. So let's move further. We have another important component that is a program of the European Union in Ukraine, and mainly the key directions interact in Ukraine, and how Ukrainian Hromadas can coordinate. And I would like to invite Yana Romaniuk, the head of the Department of Implementation of Program of the European Union and Trans-Border Cooperation of the Department of Coordination of the International Technical Assistance of the Secretariat of Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine. Ms. Yana, greetings, dear participants. Today I would like to share the information on the programs of the European Union, and the implementation is coordinated by the Secretariat of the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine. And I was also asking to open the presentation for everyone to be able to see it, because we will have a few very useful links. And what else I would like to mention? What is, for us as a central authority, what does it mean? That is a way from the offer to the implementation, and the active way of Ukraine in the programs of transborder and transnational cooperation is started back in 2004. Since that time, our Ukrainian participants were working on the partnership, on their potential, and they were preparing the projects, which are resultative even nowadays. In 2023, this year was very resultative, because that was the end of the program period 2014-2020, and the European Commission and everyone undertook lots of efforts for this project to be ended on time and to be implemented successfully. And also the work in the framework of the new program period continued, that is 2021-2027. In other words, it is called the Interact program. And during this period for Ukraine, we got access to 3 more programs, which are accessible for all regions of Ukraine. That is Interact Europe, Aspen, and Interact Next. And also it is important that for Ukraine, we have the new level of cooperation, interregional cooperation, and we are talking a lot about the levels of programs and types of programs, and now we'd like to tell more on what each of the types of cooperation mean and what opportunities does it provide. So the first level of cooperation, the most well-known, is transborder cooperation. That is cooperation between Hromadas, which have borders. And also it is called Interreg A. In the framework of this cooperation, Ukraine can participate programs Ukraine-Poland, Hungary, the Slovak Republic, Romania, and Ukraine, and our participants are actively joining. The next type of cooperation is transnational cooperation, and that is cooperation which is broader. It includes more countries, and also that is cooperation which unites, for example, the sea basins or rivers. In the framework of this cooperation, Ukraine can cooperate with 17 countries in the framework of these programs, like DOBRE regional program and also the Black Sea Basin program, and that is Interact B. And the new level of cooperation, which is now available for Ukraine since 2024, that is interregional cooperation. So you can see how geography of cooperation is broadening. The level of cooperation includes 36 countries that are all of the countries of the European Union which are engaged in this program, that is Interreg Europe and Europe Act. They are interregional And at the moment, the Secretariat of the Cabinet of Ministers is finalizing the internal Ukrainian procedures to sign these agreements on financing of these programs. Speaking of the budget, a few words. Comparing the previous and this period project, the budget of 5 programs which was available for Ukraine. So Ukraine can participate the project competition, and now you can see that we have the budget of 8 programs, and the budget is twice bigger. Speaking on the participation of the Ukrainian participants, at the moment we had the first competitions of the project offers, and we have some results. For example, the Black Sea Basin, Interreg Europe, Hungary, Slovak Republic, Romania, and Ukraine, and the monitoring committee has made a decision on the programs, and we have 167 projects with Ukrainian participants in the framework of these projects. And these programs allowed us to engage 91 million euro. And that is not the final number, because till the end of the year we will find out the results of Interreg Europe and Romania, Ukraine. And you can see also the priorities, that is ecology, medicine, education, culture, borders, cooperation, innovations. Another important task we have as Secretariat of the Cabinet of Ministers, which is a national authority that is efficient system of monitoring and control of the programs. We have prepared the program of this order regarding the control of 5 programs. We have prepared it together with the State Audit Service, which is going to be the state regulator of this project, together with Accounting Chamber of Ukraine. And at the moment this project is under the internal procedures. Until the end of this year, the system of monitoring and control will be functioning at full in Ukraine. Speaking of the oblast, who can participate the programs? In more details, I would like to focus on this question. What regions have these opportunities on each of these areas? For example, Ukraine, Romania, it can be participated by Zakarpattia, Ivano-Frankivska, Chernivtsi, and Odessa Oblast. Hungary, Slovakia, Romania, and Ukraine, that can be Zakarpattia, Ivano-Frankivska, and Chernivtsi Oblast. The program Poland, Ukraine, we have more oblasts here, that is Volynska, Lvivska, Zakarpatska, Rivnenska, Ternopilska, Ivano-Frankivska Oblast. The Black Sea Basin, that is Mykolaievska, Odessa, Kherson, Zaporizhzhia, and Donetsk Oblast, and also we have 3 programs, which is the Danube Region Program, Interreg Europe, and DOBRE Program, which are opened for all Ukrainian territories. And as for the participants, who can participate in these programs? That can be the state authorities, that can be local authorities, communal organizations, agencies of the regional development, schools, universities, hospitals. The main thing is that also NGOs. The main thing is that it has to have the registered legal entity, and it has to be non-profitable. And also here, I heard quite often from Ramadas that on how to build a partnership. What can you start with when you do not have experience, when you do not have the partner? So I would like to tell you that in the framework of this period, our programs have made an interesting online tool where you can register yourself. So you can see the link to this online tool. And you can register yourself, you can make your form, add the information about yourself, and you can be found. And there is a database of the partners who are established and they can be filtered by the priority. They can be found from the context for the communication, and also in these ways we can start building partnership. We can find the direction which is interesting for you. And speaking of the programs of Interact Europe and Urban Act, they went further in communication because they have this opportunity to get registered on the website and to have your form as a kind of social network, because you can add the photo there, you can add the explanation of your organization, your interests, what are you interested in, and also you will be able to find in the registered organizations what projects has it already implemented in the framework of each program, Interact Europe and Urban to find out more, to know what they were working on before. And also, beside that, I would like to mention about the support of our Ukrainian participants, so that this is now we are developing the network, and we have the branch office of the Poland-Ukraine partnership, and also we initiated the establishment of 6 contact points in each region of the program in Ukraine in order to provide more expert support on site to our Ukrainian partners. Besides that, in the framework of Hungary, Slovakia, Romania, Ukraine, we have 2 branch offices in one of Chortkiv and also in Uzhhorod. And also at the moment, these processes ongoing. Speaking of the tendencies, how Ukraine shows itself and Ukrainian participants on the international stage. And we are broadening the opportunities for participation of our. We are showing the new programs. And also Ukrainian participants are becoming the key participants of the project, and that means that they are able to undertake more responsibility to coordinate the project cycle. And also we are spreading the partnership because there are more opportunities for cooperation. Also, there is big activeness, and we as a national authority see that in our partners, and we got the comments from the authorities, from the European Commission. And what else is important? We see the needs, what Ukrainian participants need, mainly Hromadas. They need the capacity building, meaning the trainings, education, and also we are working on it. We, during 2023-2024, we organized informational programs, Interact Ukraine, and also we organized 15 events in Ukraine offline, that is regarding the new programs, and we saw great interest because we saw a big demand, and also we have the trainings for those who want to participate in the programs, for potential participants, and for those who already won, because for those who already won, there are some specific trainings, and all of these happens according to the competitions of each program. Also, the national authority, the Secretariat of Cabinet of Ministers, has initiated the trainings on capacity building for the representatives of the national regulator, which is the State Audit Service. And also we had the training during the last few months, and there were the trainings for those who won in the competition project offers on the issues of reporting, monitoring, state registration. And also on the 28th of October, we, together with the State Audit Service, will organize the training for those who won in these programs on how to know how to report and how to register your project in the Secretariat of the Cabinet of Ministers. And speaking of the capacity, I would like to say that we, together with the High School of the Public Administration, we are organizing the work to establish the separate course online for Hromadas on the project management, namely in the European Union, on more knowledge, obtaining more knowledge, practical knowledge, and peculiarities of each program. It was also mentioned in our Interact Day. That was it happened on the 2nd of October. That was something that was held in Ukraine for the first time. We participated this event, and this event gathered more than 800 participants. During this event, the European Commission joined. We had some good advices for how to find the opportunities, how to cooperate with our Ukrainian colleagues, and also the representatives of the colleagues who so they shared their experience on how they were implementing their projects. And if this information was new, if you would like to know more about each of these programs, about trainings, then we have our department has made a page in Facebook where we are sharing the relevant information for you to know more about the opportunities of the program. And also we have video, and I think that this information will be useful for those who want. And we have prepared video material which can make your process easier. Ms. Yana, I know that there is video, but considering the time, the Crisis Media Center, they are preparing the big press release, and all the presentations and your video, I've seen it is very interesting, very useful. We will place it on the website of the Crisis Media Center in the Decentralization tab, and also we are sending that to the territorial Hromadas. We will do it in this way. 1 minute for Mr. Alexander Alisichuk. Thank you, Ms. Nadia. Using this opportunity, I would like to thank Maya Gugladze and HOVERLA project and DOBRE project, because HOVERLA, in fact, increased twice their presence in Ukraine, and DOBRE has increased their presence in Ukraine, and they have added, as far as I remember, 2-3 regions. I have the homework for Hromadas, so you have to have the business card of your Hromada. You have to understand the needs of your Hromada and problems. You have to have the development strategy of your Hromada, which is aligned with the national strategy of development. You have to understand your disadvantages, but also advantages. And in this way, it will be easier for you to find the partner. And you have to understand that donor does not give you money for everything you want. Donor teaches you how to use the money, how to use the road, the fish road, to catch this fish. We have to learn how to use this road, because when we will be part of the European Union and the way to the European Union, we have the resources, but we have to learn how to use it. And all together, I think we will be able to do that, and in a evolutionary way, we will be able to become stronger. Thank you. I would like to thank Ukraine Crisis Media Center and you personally for this event. Thank you. Thank you, and we will be inviting you in the future. And we also have regional authorities, and therefore the deputy head of the military administration in Ternopil is our guest today. Mr. Pavlo, greetings. And can we find more about on the example of Ternopil, on the decision and how you resolve difficult problems? Thank you very much for the opportunity to be present. The situation is next on the level of the military administration. At the moment, to understand were to move forward, we need, and that is something we are doing now, we have to make the analysis of everything that is happening on the level of hromadas. Because oblast is not just international cooperation on the level of hromadas, but that is also our oblast utility companies, which are also very actively participating international cooperation projects. And therefore, at the moment, we have the analysis of information in hromadas, and we also have active hromadas, and also we have quite inactive hromadas. And from the preliminary analysis and what we've collected at the moment, unfortunately, speaking of Ternopilska Oblast, we have more than half of hromadas who have no agreements on international cooperation. You already know a lot of representatives from Ternopilska Oblast, very active ones, and therefore we also in communication about that. And first of all, that is something we need. We need the vision of the intention of hromadas, and the rest we will help with that, because we have the decree 153. So we today, I think that some of us already, so the grant a program for 1 million on the sewage consultations and so on and so forth. So the first objective we have is to analyze the current situation and to identify those who need assistance, and first of all, who is willing to get this assistance. And also we have another problematic question, that is absence of project managers and the project office. So if hromadas the ones who they do not have institutional capacity to do that. And in our plan, on the basis on the Agency of the Regional Development, to establish the project office. Speaking of the data collection, we have an objective to create the basics of the analytical portal for exclusive for Ternopilska Oblast on international cooperation, because there are lots of associations and all of them are spreading the information, and this information is available. But if a territorial hromada wants to see what is happening in the oblast, in this case, it doesn't need to look for it on different various resources. That is just, let's say, Ternopil Global. So they just enter it and they see who is signing what with whom. So what Mr. Bogdan was mentioning, that is the competition. But I consider that competition should be in place and it has to be stimulating you. For other hromadas who do not have this kind of cooperation, they could watch and see that someone has better canalization, someone has better sewage, some of them have project managers and so on and so forth. So I think that that is something we have to cover, and to cover in the framework of the small circles, in the framework of oblasts. Besides that, it is another important thing that we have to mention. Qualification of hromadas, because we understand that we had a table in the survey actually that where they had to state who is responsible for the international cooperation. Many hromadas, they mention the person, but when they are mentioning someone, they do not expect me to call this person and to talk to this person. So they want to have this person, and for example, in this village, they do not want to have this kind of person. So we have to educate these kind of people, and we have to grow our own specialists. So that is also one of the key things for us. And I would like to invite HOVERLA to Ternopil with the witnesses, because we really need your assistance. And for example, speaking of our Hromadas, so when they're asking for something, that is a very sensitive question. Yes, indeed, it is in place, and we need to give a clear message to differentiate the international support and humanitarian assistance, because many of people do not understand the difference. Because if we analyze, then having the international partner in the long-term perspective, you will have even more than if you had like just 10 generators. So we really appreciate this assistance. That is really something very useful. That is a fast assistance, but we need a more long-term benefits. And in addition, I'd like to say that at the moment Ukraine is, in fact, we are working with frontline and affected territories. There are the borderline territories, but I cannot say that those who, for example, nobody draws much attention to Ternopilska Oblast because, in fact, we are kind of safe region. We do not have things demining. We do not have big reconstruction and recovery. But nevertheless, nobody thinks of the fact that we have the IDPs. We are hosting the IDPs and most of them, more than 70,000, and 15,000 of them are children. In addition to that, rehabilitation, agriculture, so the relocated facilities. We have more than 300 relocated facilities and companies. And when I was on the conference in Strasbourg, on the Conference of Regions, we have an intention to have the partnership with Hessen province. And next to me, there was a lady, Anita Schneider. She is the president of the region, of this region. So not of the province, but of the region. And we were talking to her, and she said, we have partnership with Chernivtsi. And they are affected, they are close to the border, we are helping them. And we say, like, yes, we also want to have partnership with you, but we do not want to ask from you anything. We want to be equal. And please do not pay attention to our perspectives and what can be beneficial for you. And when she was, after this discussion, she had her speech, and she was sending the message that indeed we do not notice if someone is not coming on the stage, or they wouldn't have known. So if I didn't tell her, she wouldn't have known about the other region and the other needs. And therefore, the first thing is intention, the second to find the ways, and that is everything where we have administrative resource, and we are going to enhance that. And that is something you can write in the minutes. Thank you. We have 30 more minutes and 5 speakers, and we have to manage somehow. So lots of Hromadas, so we're writing, texting us in chat. They wanted to talk to the representatives of Hromadas who have the experience of cooperation in Interact. And therefore, I would like to invite to word Mr. Bogdan Kurlik, the head of Velykyi Bereznyi Hromada in Zakarpattia Oblast. Mr. Bogdan, greetings. Greetings. What kind of projects did you implement in the framework of Interact, and how did you manage to engage finances, to attract finances, and how were you overcoming the problems? You said you promised me more than 5 minutes. Okay, I will try to do my best. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to present our Hromada, to talk about Velykyi Bereznyi. And I agree with the previous speaker that you have to talk, you have to go on the stage and to ask, and then these accidents, when you get the accidental cases, when you get partners, they are becoming systematic. My personal experience started when I was member of the local council, and together with Poland, that was called the Drum of Democracy, and that was very weird for me. When I was elected in 2010 and having the intention to improve the life and to change the life in our Hromada, I participated. A bottle of wine and went to find new friends abroad. And when I'm asked how did I manage to do something, I have so many partners. Even though as the head of the Hromades, I'm not looking for the numbers. You even how can win the projects with the Hromades who are not officially your partners. So I was saying that you have sacrificed a few things. The first thing is time, because you have to spend some time traveling. The second, your own money, because in the beginning, there were no money for trips, for the administrative expenditure. They were personally my money. And the third thing, sometimes you have to sacrifice your house, mainly your liver. So things, the conversations are better tied and the problems are better untied with the bottle of alcohol. The first project organized with Poland in 2011, and we lacked just half of point to get 1 million project. And when I looked for the explanations, I understood that we didn't have experience and project management and how money control. And then accidentally, friends of mine brought me to 3 projects which were financed by the Norwegian Foundation. In those 3 projects, so we had the common budgets. For Ukrainian Hromada, it was 15,000 euro. But the project experience is very important, more important than the budget. And therefore, we implemented these projects. And when we were applying for transborder projects, Slovakia, Hungary, and Romania and Ukraine, we were writing that we have experience in Ukraine international project, and out of 5 projects, 3 were successful together with our partners. And the budget for Velykyi Bereznyi was very big, and what we were able to implement, and as implementation, what are the risks, what are the problems personally me faced. First, the members of the parliament of the previous council, the deputies of the local council, they did not perceive this idea well. So we need to build something. They or like some other obstacles. We do not need the roads, we do not need the sewage, but unfortunately or luckily, there are the priorities, and the priorities of application, and the money cannot be used for the other purposes, but the ones which are mentioned in the project offer. Speaking of the problems, the English-speaking staff, I was looking for a long time. Time for people who are English-speaking. I was doing project myself, and we were preparing the project offer they were prepared abroad. The next problem for those who will be willing to implement projects, that is co-financing. If in program if it is at 20% of your own co-funding, you need more than 20%, and after audit you need if you want to get the continuation of the program, you need more money. Another big obstacle is during tender procedure. I have bad experience. So when that company won and they were risked not to fulfill our obligations according to the project. But we managed to overcome this obstacle. Besides that, sometimes the deputies of the council of the recently in the parliament, in the local councils, you can find very different people. And for example, the Hungarian program has added on 50,000 euro to finish the project, and I had to foresee 50,000 euro in our budget, and the deputies were not voting. I would like to thank the Secretary of the Ministry of the Cabinet of Ministers, Rostoslav Yamchuk, who explained the head of our oblast that the Zakarpattia Oblast administration is a beneficiary and is solidarily obliged in the framework of this project. On the 25th of December 2023, we got and in 2 days we finalized the project. We managed to close everything positively and to reapply for the next project. I would like to thank at that time of the function Victor Makita, who understood our situation. And speaking of the budgets for the functioning of transborder, so I would like our deputies to hear the words today. Even the small Ramada who has no funds can win in the competitions. Mr. Bogdan, thank you very much. You're a very interesting person, and promise us if Ukrainian Ramadas will contact you for you to share your experience and information which you were not able to tell us today due to lack of time. Promise us that you will help us and you will accept them, and that please do not ruin your liver during doing that. When you're 50 plus, you have some certain experience. I mean, like how not to kill your liver. Yes, of course, we share with Ramadas our experience, and we have 2 representatives of Ramadas from west of Ukraine. They have shared experience, and just in the future, when we applied 2 projects with Poland, Berhovo 1, and out of 3 projects in Hungary, Slovakia, Poland, Ukraine, out of 3 projects we applied 2 projects. One, the total, I just wrote it, around 500,000 euro. So you have to participate various events. You have to show the results of your Ramada, sometimes travel even on your coast, and then you will be noticed. Start with small projects. Don't go to the big ones because there is high risk that you will not win, and everything is resolvable. You will have Interact Europe that are for small projects. Brzezinska Ramada is ready to enhance the participation also of good partners in Ukraine and to win money for Ukrainian partners. I wish you if you will face the problems, but without problems, life is boring. Thank you. Богдан Кролика, Velykyi Bereznyi, Громада Zakarpattia Oblast. If you will have any questions, please contact this Gромада. I do not think that you will be refused or rejected if you have questions. And also, I'm very glad to see Volodymyr Shmatko, the head of Chortkivska Gромада, Ternopilska Oblast. Also, I would like to mention the marathon of Ministry of and Territories. He was somewhere on the border. He was driving the truck and he was delivering the humanitarian assistance to people in Chortkivska Hromada, and just later understood that somewhere around he had like 2-3 programs of memorandum of cooperation with international Hromadas, which later I saw, and how everything was developing in Chortkivska Hromada. Mr. Vladimir, your experience, and please tell us, answer us how you're developing your partnership. As our colleagues mentioned it today, and not to ask. Yes, thank you.
In Ukrainian, sorry.
Lots of things were said, starting from the legislation to executive to partners, colleagues, as at the moment, the head of the military administration, Vyacheslav Andronovich, calls the executive authorities the colleagues. And finally, we have it from the first person of them, because for 12 years I'm working in the decentralization, gives good results. Thank you very much for this topic. We do not have much time. I will be brief. 13 partnerships. We have Moldova and also Italy, Canada, Light Force Yukon, and new opportunities for horizontal communication. Partnership is a big diplomacy on how to counter the disinformation spread by the Russian Federation. The simple people, if we can say without discrimination, who live around the world, they know not much about Ukraine, and that is and that's fine, because the world is not spinning around Ukraine. But if we want to find about this in this war, and this war is we are fighting the third countries. We have to understand that at the moment Hromada have the task, they are writing not only, they have to, all of us, we want to be the part of the European Union, and we want to be in the European Union in 2030. But are we ready mentally? Are we ready economically, and so on and so forth? So a few obstacles. And the first obstacle is English. So we do not have, in my opinion, we should not go on the stage and speak Ukrainian with the interpreter. So I do not know how it was translated into with a lever and with a bottle, this thing. But I hope that everything was fine. But today we have to understand that English is a language in good sense on how to tell the truth. And today all of us, we have to learn it, and that is what we are doing in Chortkiv. That is what all the heads of Hromadas have as obligation, those who everyone who wants to have international cooperation, they have to do that. And I'm very glad that we are made to do that. And during this presentation, we'll have lots of slides. I will save our time, but that is number one. Number two is, of course, when we are presenting our Hromada, that it means that we have to say that we are ready for this partnership. That is strategy, that is a document which tells us who are we, that is presentation in English language, that is a team which speaks English language. And in this case, we can move from, emotions to results, to the win-win situation for the mutual benefit. And what is win-win? So a lot of people are talking about win-win. So there were people from Warsaw. There was a very good discussion in Senate, and I would like to thank Ms. Olena Kondratyuk, our Vice Speaker of the Parliament, and the Polish people wanted to hear and how to work with the civil protection. And what the head of Hromada can explain what is a shelter, what is communication with citizens. When I told them that we have around 20,000 people in various social groups, and I'm communicating with them personally every day through communication, through chats, Viber, Telegram, Facebook, personally. So for Poland, French people, it was very weird that we know in a few seconds about the challenges, and they wanted to hear these examples. So what can be a win-win from the cooperation with Ukraine? The next thing, which is a key thing when we are talking about investments, yeah, the project is really great. So we can thank a lot HOVERLA, DOBRE, USAID, GIZ, PROON, ULEAD, and so on and so forth. But that is a sustainable. That is the achievement of sustainability, but from the achievement to result, there is a long way. So we have good cooperation with Béziers, French Béziers. We had a meeting there, so they were asking, what can you suggest for business? And today, for Ramadas, the next stage, after all of these memorandums, all of these agreements, photos, Facebook reports, educational and cultural exchanges, what are the investments to Ukraine? Ukraine, where the war is ongoing. And the first thing the French people are asking, do you have in Ukraine, in Chortkiv, the town where you can have a common entity? They are afraid to come to Chortkiv, but investing in some production in Ukraine on Are Ramadas of like Chortkiv are ready to suggest this kind of mechanism? No, we are not. Let's be honest. We lack expertise, we lack staff, we lack business, which is ready for this kind of dialogue. We have the barrier between us and the European Union, and I'm sure that we will come in 5-6 years, and our education. And now, for this movement, thank you very much, the colleagues who were talking about the quality and the quantity. We have to grow from quantity to quality, and that is education. And how to make this partnership, so I have lots in my presentation, how to make this partnership sustainable. The policies are changing. For example, in Belgium, we are improving our cooperation, and the Belgian colleagues say that after elections, we need to wait. We need to see who is the head of Ramada and who will become the head of Ramada, and to see whether he is interested to work with Ukraine. Or, for example, recently there were meetings in Moldova, the city, and the presidential elections, and our city Kaushan partner, with the change of Gramada, whether this cooperation will still be in place. Sometimes the changes is that the priority is not happening. For example, with our partner, which we do not have cooperation with, because the head of the Armada does not consider that to be priority. We went further with Chortkiv, and we started. And because the school is the most sustainable thing, and you can see the emotions, and from the same number one, and we found 200,000, and we paid from our own, and we brought children to the French school, and they continue. And the same thing with Karlsbruno. So we have the same partnership, good partnership happened from Brussels, from the University of the Silver Age, that is 60-plus education. And there are more than 200 graduates who have the partners in Karlskrona, where these... I have forgotten the word. Lutorina, the university is, the educational program is working, and we went to Poland, and we are writing the project between the students 60 plus and the children and people from Karlskrona. And then the policies will be working and changing, and the mayors are going to change, and we're going to overcome these challenges. And the next level is the investments, economy, and the rest. So that is really very important. So I truly believe that colleagues in Ukraine will understand that partnership is not just going to Washington or just to take some photos or to talk. That is important, but that's but a lot of things are expecting us in the future. We will preserve our integrity, but how to we have prepared the staff, and these people went to work for HOVERLA. So you're my deputy, and she was leading these projects, but she went to the international project. And how in Chortkiv, where we have 37,000 people, how can we keep the people with English with 20,000 hryvnias? But unfortunately, these challenges, we will Thank you so much. Mr. Volodymyr, thank you very much, and with great pleasure in inviting for the words the head of Hlyboka Hromada, the person who within the years became the great expert of in cooperation. Mr. Velykyi, can you hear us? Yes, but the order. But can you hear us? Yes, the floor is yours on the experience of Hlyboka Hromada. Greetings, everyone. I'm very glad to see all of you, and it's a pleasure to participate this program, this event. I would like to say that just recently we have the working and educational visit of Hromadas from Kharkiv, from the occupied territories, which are learning from Bukovinsky Hromada on international cooperation. And what we were talking in this program, these things are already happening in the same time with initiatives happening in the Verkhovna Rada Parliament. Hromadas start to study the experience of the previous projects. We have the experience since 2006. In the beginning, it was on the basis, on the grounds of the local Hromadas, and we had the meetings between communities in Hromada, in Romania. So it is closer from us to Romania, and in fact, we started cooperation in small project that is. There is the project, communicational project, sports, children projects, children exchange, and children initiatives, and later they grew into the projects of infrastructural level. During these 3 days, we were in touch with our colleagues and how to find the common things in the framework of the next waves, in the framework of the follow-up expansions of the opportunities. And we were talking about the things which we had today in this room, that the Hromadas from the east with Hromadas from the west, some of them, they can have partners, and TRAC suggests a broad partnership. At least 4 or 5 partners have to participate in this program, so we could, in the framework of this consortium, we could have applied for these projects, we could have found the partners and to expand these kind of cooperation. Today we were in Chernivtsi. We met Chernivtsi governor, and the city has lots of very successful projects, trans-border projects, and the governor was telling about the successful projects with Germany. They were talking about the successful projects with French cities. And I guess that what we've heard today regarding the Borscht Festival, I think there was lack of communication between the specialists, not between the specialists, but Chernivtsi administration is ready for cooperation, and they have a strong academy, and they could have enhanced this cooperation. And in the end of this meeting, I will talk to the governor, and we will find out how to resolve it. And trans-border cooperation is at the moment at most important, and I agree with Mr. Volodymyr. That is one of the tools of our informational countering the Russian disinformation. That is a way to tell through the people and not through device media about the war and about the situation which we are facing at the moment. And we had an opportunity to be with our guests in Romania. We were able to meet communities, and at the moment we are working on our cooperation, and I guess that in the near future the number of the implemented projects will increase in Ukraine. I'm not going to take much of your time. I'm ready for communication, cooperation, for experience exchange, and welcome to Bukovina. And Bukovina is ready to share experience. Thank you, Mr. Hori. And in Ukraine, we have 1,470 Hromadas, and even though we would like to invite everyone, but nevertheless, Zviahelska Hromada, when they saw our announcement, they called us and they said, we have something to share and we want to participate in your event, and I would like the other Hromadas to use it as an example. Rena Hoods, the deputy head of the Zviahel city. The floor is yours. Greetings, good afternoon. Thank you for this opportunity. And Zviahel is the first city which, after the full-scale war, has restored its historical name, and now we have the brand that Zviahel is the city doomed for success, and we have heard lots of ways Hromadas do, and we have our own peculiarity. We are innovations-oriented and sustainable-oriented Hromada. And today Mr. Igor from HOVERLA said that we are also important actors on the international stage, and I would say that today's Zviahel is not asking for something solid. We are not going asking our partners for something, but first of all, we want to develop our human resources, and we want to be energy independent, economy sustainable, and also the security thing that are the key priorities for us. And when we're talking about the presentation of our cities today. We are saying that we are talking about population, and now we have the line in our presentation dedicated to the IDPs, and therefore we have the new people with their own vision, with their traditions, and it is also important for us to make them the part of our Hromadas. And speaking of the innovations is what Mr. Volodymyr was mentioning, that we have to hear the business. And here we have an important triangle: government, universities, and business. And it helps us to make our strategic documents more powerful. And we've made a lot of interesting things by engaging the experts from the international projects, because the small and medium towns, they are suffering because of lack of human resources. We are not able to compete with business when it comes to the salaries, and therefore the participation in international projects is a big relief for us. And decentralization for us is when the towns were joined by villages, and sometimes these villages do not have schools, and we understand that we have to make to have these schools. But there are the new opportunities, because just recently this year we had a remote village, and we turned it into the space where every day there is a line of people for attraction, where children are making TikToks, the adults are playing chess, and there are the new opportunities thanks to our international partnership. And why Zviahel is interesting now? Because together with Slavutic city, we are test piloting the first city assemblies, and we are doing that on the example of the European ones. And for us it is very important, because all Europe is watching us, because we are doing that during the full-scale war. And the methodology is that we first of all have to invite all the people who have never been public, who are not the members of the NGOs, but who are ready to participate the development of Hromadas through the letters. And we were even thinking how to make the letter so that the person who received it did not receive it as a kind of notification to go to the military commissariat. So we understood how people are interested. We even didn't know that there are so many people. The people who are coming on Saturday and Sunday, and we already had 2 weekends, and the final one will be on the 2nd and 3rd of November, and we see how people are ready. And today we went to the international OGP local. We joined OGP local with Kyiv and Morshytsa, and I would like to thank the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine and the Congress of the local and regional governments for their methodological support, and for the fact that Zviahel is also the military Hromada. And we have to understand that at the moment we are in the public space. We are we have funerals every day. We are working with the families of the militaries, and we at the same time we have to work on sustainability and to work for our future. And therefore, what is OGP local? OGP local is 4 vectors: when we have innovations, when we have transparency, engagement of Hromadas, and we have chosen the work with the veterans, because at the moment it is relevant for everyone, and also the youth engagement, because most towns is youth training, and how through school budgets, through other activities to keep them. And we appreciate long-term cooperation with HOVERLA because HOVERLA is practices. HOVERLA is important documents which, as we already mentioned, even if they are implemented in one place, nevertheless they can be multiplied and they can be implemented in the other armadas as well to achieve success. And also the cooperation with the city, which so far we do not have, the Terahodze in Indiana. We are doing that through our educational facility, through our medical college, which works with the University of St. Maria, and to find these common things in common, which Vladimir was mentioning today. Another important thing, and we would like to thank HOVERLA, that is security and safety and security issue, that is development of the documents. And in this case, we are not talking about something solid. We appreciate generators and the rest of the things, but we appreciate the program products. And because nowadays people understand what to do, they have clear instructions. And if one doesn't know how to communicate and how to organize all of these things, so also we would like to thank for mental health, and we would like to thank USAID and PASS and the working. And now on the level of Ukraine, we have a huge problem on the level of epidemic, how to work with mental health, because veterans and their families, and now we are working with all the pilots, and just recently we opened we have opened the second dormitory for the IDPs, and that means that we have big negotiations, and we are trying to help business. And we are prioritizing those IDPs who work on our entities, and at the same time they are supporting our businesses. And finalizing, I can say that, and that is about our institutional visas. Where do we go with our businesses to have these B2B meetings to tell the European countries? And the moment we have a big project that is a center for creative innovations and business development, also for the veterans. And I will leave my presentation, and I do understand that we will not be able to tell about all our times about energy efficiency, but I would like to thank everyone who at this difficult time is trying to go further, to move further, and not to give up, and to motivate each other, because sometimes you go and you can see the same people, and therefore I would like to thank all of those who understand us, support us. Thank you, Ms. Irina, and I have the time to present Pavlo Ostapenko, the head of NGO the Union of the Researchers of Ukraine, and they are providing the analytical researches, and their deep understanding of statistics and data helps armadas to make the justified decisions. How the picture of the cooperation looks like now? And what advices would you give to armadas? Greetings. Thank you for the invitation. I was listening to everyone for a long time, and one of the last presentations, there is a map. Well, the map was what we've done. Out of all the institutions listed there is no institution except us. So even the ministries, all of them are not relevant anymore. Only the map, only us are relevant on this in this list of the companies. That is a small remark. So speaking of the cooperation, we can see the new partnerships, and I would like to advertise once again one of the chapters of Decentralization, international partnership, where we have not only recommendations, there is also the opportunity to apply for a partnership, and there are dashboards which show which armadas, which regions, oblasts have partnership abroad. And the first remark regarding lost partnership. we've heard it for a couple of times here, like how, like the it's not kind of lost, but like it's not active anymore. So when it comes to analytics, so we are helping from others to remember about the partnerships, because executive authorities change in Hromadas. The heads are re-elected, or like the people are changing, and sometimes the institutional memory is lost about this kind of cooperation. And maybe sometimes it is said that we do not have this kind of partnership. Unfortunately, we did not make it up, so it was recorded somewhere, but now Hromada does not remember it. And therefore, if you see that you have Kadne city, not Kadne, in Chortkiv, and you also have Herz Monaco, and for some oblast centers, I'm not going to reveal the secrets, you will see the map, and there is... speaking of me, I think that is a very good cooperation, and that is an active partnership, but maybe one can say that they can also have Monaco in their partnership and they do not know about it, but raise your archives and discuss it and use this opportunity. And all in all, and I would like to show the slide of the monitoring of decentralization. That is a very archaic document at the moment, but nevertheless it's still done in this way, but not monthly, but every quarter. And the Ministry of is says that there is a monitoring of the partnership for the territorial Hromadas, and we are helping to conduct this monitoring through ULEAD, and there is no dynamics. We have registered more than 2,000 Hromadas, and as in the beginning of in the mid 2022, when we started to do that in the ministry, there were only 1,293, and in fact in 2 years we have a significant development. Almost 2 times the number has grown, and out of 275 we have 485 Hromadas which have partnership, international partnership abroad. But in my opinion, that's not enough. Lots of work for the international cooperation and for Hromadas. It's a big field for cooperation. So there is no cooperation, and maybe in 1 quarter, for example, 81 in the first quarter. And as of the 1st of October, we will prepare the monitoring, and there will be the growth there and entities there, but in my opinion it's not that significant, and therefore we have to work on it. And a few more remarks and I'm going to finish. And here we have the thesis that the statements that we have to look at the benefits not only for ourselves, and our Hromadas have something to teach, and that's true. And the more I'm traveling abroad, the more I'm getting confident in that, because we definitely have better system of the public service provision, not only administrative but also other types of the services, and that is something we have to talk about, and we have to teach the others. It's not a problem. Even the way how we pay in the public transport, they are much better than in the countries of big G7, and For example, Kiev, there was a top news that Kiev, when it comes to digitalization, it's better than Tokyo. We have to talk about it and to show it. We have to and we have to work on the cultural diplomacy. And you are sitting in front of me, and I'm following you on Facebook. They are not just doing what they've mentioned, but they are bringing also the groups, the creative groups abroad, and that is a basic of the cultural diplomacy, because the Minister of Culture or any kind of other organization can go somewhere. So they are forming the policies, and our Ramadas, they are the ones who have to be in charge of that and spreading Ukrainian culture abroad, which has an impact on our support, and we need the support for dozens of years. And even by voice or in the Council of Europe or in the General Assemblies, that are the things we really need, and spreading this culture and introducing this culture is an important factor, and don't be shy, Ramadas, don't be shy to do that. Yes, indeed, go in these strange costumes. Some of you will call it weird, but nevertheless, bring them or do that, because that is something that is really important, and that is, I've recently, in one of the European cities, I've heard Bandura, and everyone was literally crying because it was so wonderful, and in fact the citizens of that country, they get more interested in our unique musical culture, because bandura is a unique musical instrument in Ukraine. And
вона досить важлива. Насправді, що пошук потенційних партнерів, при пошуку потенційних партнерів важливо враховувати. Буде простіше знайти десь на Скандинавії чи в німецькому місті партнера.
Or in a German city, then Spain or with any other country with native climate, because there they do their economy in the otherwise, so it won't be that convenient for you to work there. So we also have some exotic moments there, but it's rather an exception than a rule. And the last remark, I really like that. On the website, Interrega, and the Facebook profile, I wasn't there, but I trust her. It's like a business card of a community, and every community should have a PDF 2-page brochure in English with nice pictures, so that your potential partners at least know who are you, where you are, and what climate is there, the soil, how many enterprises are there, what cultural and touristic peculiarities are there. Not all communities have this now, but I hope in a couple of years every community will have this. Thank you very much, and I've been thinking, how should I finish today's event, because we don't have much time, but let's imagine that international intermunicipal partnership is to send your community into a tour, but with a rule. You come back not with a magnet for a fridge, but you give your a piece of your culture, share it with the others, and get the most from them. Thank you.